What's up, guys? Hockey TikTokie's back with an all new video. Today we're doing a breakdown and recap of last night's game between the Calgary Flames and the Minnesota Wild. All right, guys, let's get right into it. So it was a 3-1 game. I think by the end of it, Flames took the win. So that was pretty cool. The Flames are on a 2-game win streak now. It was a really tightly contested game, which is exactly what I predicted. If you guys watched my previous video, I did a little preview prediction type video for this matchup, and I really said that it was going to be a tight game because the two teams were coming into this thing almost tied in points for the season, you know. So I think as it was, Calgary leapfrogged Minnesota in the standings by a point. I think Minnesota still has a game in hand, but pretty awesome effort by the Flames last night. You know, I think it was the game before against Philadelphia where we saw a little bit of line juggling. They put Huberdeau up on the top line with Sharangovich and Lindholm, and they moved Mangiapane back down to the line that he played on previously a couple years ago with Backlund and Coleman. And man, it looks like it's working out so far, guys. It's looking like it's working out really well because we saw both those two guys get goals, Mangiapane and Huberdeau. So Mangiapane, I think he snapped a 9-game goalless drought, I should say. I got my tongue in a twister here. 9-game scoreless, goalless drought. And then Huberdeau actually snapped a 19-game goalless drought. So that was pretty cool to see, guys. You know, all year, one of the biggest storylines for the Calgary Flames has been the lack of production by Jonathan Huberdeau. You know, he signed a deal with Calgary when he came over here the year prior in a trade for $10.5 million a season for 8 years, which was actually the richest or most expensive contract in the history of the Calgary Flames. And so far, those lofty expectations have not been met by Jonathan Huberdeau to be the highest paid player in the league. So, you know, it's actually really interesting because, you know, a lot of people when he first signed were really happy to see the superstar Huberdeau sign with the Flames, but very soon after, it didn't seem like he was playing up to his standard or up to what we had standard set for him. So to see him get back on the score sheet today is really big. You know, it's really exciting to see that because if the Flames want any chance of success this year and even moving on years prior, Jonathan Huberdeau needs to be the Jonathan Huberdeau that we traded for, the Jonathan Huberdeau that earned his $10.5 million contract. So really cool to see him scoring again. He still has a long ways to go, but you know, getting back on the score sheet is a big plus for him. And I think with that storyline, guys, with Huberdeau's lack of production in both goals, points, assists, everything, it kind of takes a bit of the negative spotlight off of some of the other underperformers on the team. And one of them is the other guy who scored in the game tonight, who was Andrew Mangiapane. So Mangiapane also signed a big contract recently, and he was coming off a breakout season, 35 goals, which is huge for him. Good job for him for doing that. But then he signed a massive deal, and I think in the second year of that deal, or sorry, not second year, but first year of the deal, right after scoring the 35, he came up with 18, so about half as many as he did the year before. And now this year, I believe, is on pace for similar type numbers. So it's kind of unfortunate. You know, we've seen this happen in the past to many different players where they produce at a high level, get a lot of goals, get a lot of points, coming into free agent years, they sign a big deal, and then their production falls off a cliff. And maybe part of it has to do with the pressure that they're under to live up to those expectations. Maybe part of it was the incentive that they had to try their best and play harder and, you know, really have, you know, the best possible chance at signing the best possible deal when they're in their contract year. Maybe that's all part of it. Maybe it's psychological. Maybe it's just unfortunate coincidence. You know, for example, I think Mangiapane was dealing with an injury last year where he had a problem with his shoulder that required surgery. Maybe that was holding him back. But at the end of the day, guys, this is not a new phenomenon. We've seen this happen many times in the NHL, to the Calgary Flames, to other teams as well, where a guy signs a contract and then doesn't live up to the expectation that we put on him. But with tonight's game, playing on a line with Backlund and Coleman, Mangiapane looked really good, and I believe he scored 3 points the other night against Philadelphia. So really liking to see, I'm really liking what I see from his production-wise the last couple of games, and that lineup being put back together. You know, I was talking about this recently to somebody else about the lines, and I really wanted to see Mangiapane back with Backlund and Coleman. You know, Backlund being the captain of the team, you know, really strong defensive guy, but also able to chip in on offense and, score at a decent rate. He's not known as a huge goal scorer or anything like that, but putting him on a line with Backlund and Coleman, I think allows Mangiapane to be the scorer of that line. So I'm happy for that, guys. I really liked the effort tonight. And how about the defense? How about Jacob Markstrom? So I believe Markstrom has started in 6 games since coming back from injury, which was, I think near the middle-ish of December. And coming back from those 6 games, he actually has won 4 of those starts and has put up Vezina-like numbers in terms of his goals against average and save percentage. Really impressive stuff. So that's amazing to hear, guys, to see and to hear, because when it comes to goaltending can actually change the outlook of your entire team. You know, if you have a really hot goaltender, you can achieve a lot more than even if you are a good team with good scorers and good defense, but you have a terrible goaltender. The whole team can be changed just by having a hot goalie. We've seen it happen before, guys. Who expected the Florida Panthers to be going to the Stanley Cup final last season? Who expected that? Be honest. Be honest. Be honest, guys. Ask yourself deep down inside, did you actually expect Florida to beat Boston? Most people would probably say no. But what happened was Bobrovsky played out of his mind and started actually just basically stonewalling every single shot, playing to his full heart's, desire, his full, capacity. And suddenly Florida is in the Stanley Cup final. So that example, guys, shows you that if you have a hot goaltender, you could become a threat in the NHL. So Jacob Markstrom has been playing amazing the last couple of games. Six starts, 4 wins, really great save percentage and goals against average. And if he could keep that up, guys, I think the chances of the Flames being able to claw and fight and get their way back up into the playoff race is right there if he just keeps putting up numbers like that. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on one more point before we wrap this little review/recap up, was Blake Coleman. So I talked about Coleman in pretty much every one of my videos so far because the dude is on fire, guys. He's on fire. If you watch my preview video that I made yesterday, I said Blake Coleman is hot right now. Watch out for him. He scored an empty net goal last night, and I believe he scored an empty net goal the other night as well. So, it doesn't matter, guys, if they're coming empty net or, straight in or what. It doesn't matter how he's getting the points, but the guy's getting points. He's leading the league, not the league. He's leading the team in points. And who expected that, guys? Nobody. At the beginning of the season, if somebody told me straight in the eyes, dead in my eyes, and said, I predict Blake Coleman to lead the Calgary Flames in goals or points by the end of the season, I would not believe them. There's no one, I command you to find somebody that can have physical proof of them claiming that. Because I think most people, if you were to ask them at the beginning of the year, if you said, who do you think is going to lead the Flames in goals, points, and whatever by the end of the season? Most people would probably pick guys like Kadri. They might say Huberdeau. They might say Lindholm. They might even say Mangiapane. Maybe even Sharon Govich. I don't know. But certainly certainly most people would not be picking Blake Coleman. And Blake Coleman is a great player, guys. He's a great player. And I hope nobody takes this the wrong way when I talk about him this way. I'm just saying that it's unexpected. And really, realistically, guys, it's more of an indictment on those players that I just named. The fact that Lindholm, Kadri, Huberdeau especially are getting outscored by a third liner that's meant to shut down the opposition's top lines is a little bit concerning. And that's why I keep talking about the fact that we need our best players, our most gifted and talented offensive players, to be their best selves, to be the best players that they can be. Because if the Calgary Flames have any hope in where of making it to the Stanley Cup Stanley Cup playoffs, if they have any chance in this season, then they must have their best players be their best players. Like, follow, and subscribe for more of this crazy rant hockey talk.